Everybody is panicking. The reason being that Kenya Revenue Authority has now decided to implement the law on the tax called Affordable Housing Levy. In 2024, the government of President William Ruto passed the law into force a housing levy. Under the law of 2024, every employer from 2024 is supposed to deduct 1.5% of the employee's salary, 1.5% of any income a businesswoman, a businessman gets. If you have never paid tax for 10 years, when KRA gets you, they recover the money up to 10 years. You cannot say that the law starts when they have gotten you. So from 2024 July, KRA will recover the money for last month, for 2 months, for 3 months, for 10 months, for 1 year, for 2 years backwards. This is lethal. This is chaotic. You can imagine there are employers who deducted 1.5% of the levy and have never remitted this money. From tomorrow, the employer is going to tell you, I will deduct your salary for August, 1.5% times 12 months, times 2, because it is 2 years from 2024. Is this not going to be disruptive? Welcome to trending version of the court helicopter. Everybody is panicking. The reason being that Kenya Revenue Authority has now decided to implement the law on the tax called Affordable Housing Levy. In 2024, the government of President William Ruto passed the law into force, that is the Affordable Housing Levy. Under the law of 2024, every employer from 2024 is supposed to deduct 1.5% of the employee's salary, 1.5% of any income a businesswoman, a businessman gets, and remit that money to KRA. But KRA has been having a problem on how to implement that law. So today, Vivian went to KRA and she has come with the law. And this is the law that Kenyans need to understand, that that is the law. It is not anything about us. This is the Housing Fund Regulations. Regulations number 238 of 2018. What does section 4 of these regulations say? Every employer who, mark my words, every employer who under a contract of service employs one employee or more shall have to register with the Housing Fund as a contributing employer and shall register his or her employee or employees as members of the Housing Fund. What this means, if you have employed one person, 2, 3, 4, 5, all of them, you must register with them at the affordable housing. Every employee. 2, every employee who is under contract of service shall register with the Housing Fund as a contributing employee unless that employee is a foreigner working in Kenya. The only employee who is not supposed to pay this fund is a foreigner. So the employee under this contract, who is an employer, any businessman, any boda, if you have employed somebody, that one you must pay. If you are in a salon, all the girls you have employed and all the kinyosi guys, you are there. If you are a digital content creator, the people you have employed. If you are a juakali, any form of employer, kila muajiri. It's told me, don't hate me. Please, 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 please. Don't hate Hotel Copter, as we tell you the way it is. Any employer, kama wewe unatengeneza chapati na wale wasichana wako watatu, wewe unapika githeri na wale wavulana wako wanakufanyia kazi, wewe ni wakufyeka, wale wanakufanyia kazi, wewe ni painter, wale vijana wanakufanyia kazi, wewe ni mtu wa mkono, all those people. In summary, anybody who earns, unless you are in government, this one you are supposed to register. 5. Any person who fails, neglects, or refuses to register under this regulation commits an offense and shall upon conviction be liable to imprisonment for a term of 2 years or to a fine not exceeding 10,000 shillings or to both. So if you don't register as an employer, you'll go in for 2 years or you'll be given a fine of not exceeding 10,000 shillings or to both. 6. Any employer who fails, neglects, or refuses to make a contribution under this regulation commits an offense and shall upon conviction be liable to imprisonment for a term of 2 years or to a fine not exceeding 10,000 shillings or to both. So, employer and employee, if you don't remit affordable housing, 1.5%, you shall be jailed for a period not exceeding 2 years or a fine of 10,000 shillings or both. These are the regulations that are there. So we went to the Tax Act. How does KRA now come in? KRA, this is the Kenya Tax Procedures Act, Cap 496B of the laws of Kenya. Section 42. How does KRA get the power to get you? This section applies when a taxpayer or a non-resident person who is subject to tax in Kenya will become liable to pay tax and tax is unpaid. If tax is unpaid, 2, the commissioner may inspect the taxpayer, may in respect to the taxpayer demand that person to pay that money. How do they do this? They issue a notice. It goes on to say, when a notice is served under subsection 2, the agent will deduct the specified amount from a payment of salary, wages, or other similar remuneration payable at a fixed interval to the taxpayer or non-resident person who is subject to tax. The amount required to be deducted by an agent from each payment shall not exceed 20% of the amount of each payment or salary, wages, or other remuneration after payment. KRA under section 42 has the power to issue a notice. Under section 42 of the KRA Tax Act, that notice allows them to freeze your bank account. They will get into the bank account, deduct what is there for KRA. They will close bank accounts of businesses. They will close salary accounts, take what is there. They'll invade the salary account of the employer and take what he has not remitted. But this law was not sufficient from 2024, this tax law was not sufficient to allow them intrude in the banks and accounts of employees and employers. Finance bill. This is the finance bill 2026. Were you there? Vivian was there live from Parliament with court helicopter. The parliamentarians passed this law. They are the same people in the village telling you 2-term or 1 term. Did they read this section 39B? Did they read this? This is what John Mbadi, the minister at Treasury, is going to invoke. This Finance Act came into force this July. What does it say? The Tax Procedure Act is amended by inserting a new section immediately after Section 39A. It is called Section 39B. It says, notwithstanding the provisions of any other written law, where the commissioner is the collector of a fee, levy, or charge under any other written law, the commissioner may recover any unpaid amount of the fee, levy, or charge as if it was an unpaid tax under tax law. The Affordable Housing Levy of 1.5% is now a levy. Under Section 39B of the Finance Act, which amended the tax law in section number 39A, the powers of KRA now are like police powers of the state. They will enter your account, they will enter into your any business and take 1.5%. They are saying this is a debt. It will be collected in arrears. Let me repeat. Vivian tells me, read it. It says, where the commissioner is the collector of fees, levy, or charge under any other written law, the commissioner may recover any unpaid amount of the fee, levy. That's why we are concerned. As if it was unpaid tax under tax law. What does that mean? Under the tax laws of Kenya, if you have never paid tax for 10 years, when KRA gets you, they recover the money up to 10 years. You cannot say that the law starts when they have gotten you. So from 2024 July, KRA will recover the money for last month, for 2 months, for 3 months, for 10 months, for 1 year, for 2 years backwards. This is lethal. This is chaotic. You can imagine there are employers who deducted 1.5% of the levy and have never remitted this money. We know the story of NSSF. We know the story of others. SACCOs, people, their money is deducted, but they are never remitted. The time now is here. If you have deducted your employees 1.5% levy, housing levy, and you have never remitted, your time is here. 2, if you have never remitted or deducted, your time is up. For the employees, if you have never been deducted, from tomorrow, the employer is going to tell you, I will deduct your salary for August, 1.5% times 12 months, times 2, because it is 2 years from 2024. Is this not going to be disruptive? This is going to be disruptive. Can the law that was amended, the finance bill, see the day. I'm very definite. Lawyers like Shadrack Wamboi with Sheria Mtaani, people will be rushing to court to stop this law from applying and from working retrospectively. This law is not good law. Where did these members of parliament? Were they sleeping? This is not the first time. You will hear them on the platforms now saying, this law is bad. Where were they when this law was passed? Kenya has a bad history. We said Raila Odinga and Kibaki read the constitution for us. When it passed, ikikuuma unalia. From court helicopter, trending news, we are not telling KRA to enforce the law. Neither are we telling people not to pay the taxes. Our job with Vivian is to bring you the law as it is. It is bad news. Check on Nation newspaper headline. That is the story. The Business Daily. That is the story. It is not court helicopter, but we have told you the basis of this. Keep watching as we try to see what the courts are going to do. Wakili Dan Sadomari, we thank Vivian for this good research. Asante.